What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here today with the review for The Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 4, episode number 8, I believe, and it's titled Sex Lies and Butter Knives. So, without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and just jump right into tonight's episode and the video. Alright, so what I'm going to probably do now is I am going, because there were 3 people who didn't have really much going on this episode, so I'm gonna talk about them all one behind one another, and then we'll lead up to Candice and Monique, who this was actually kind of like a filler episode, if you want me to be honest with you, because nothing really happened in this episode until the end of the episode. But we had Karen. So Karen and Ray, they are taking a dancing class, and when they get there, Karen has on these high ass heels. And the lady's like, yeah, you gonna have to change your shoes, because those shoes right there, I can guarantee you that they're gonna be, impossible to dance in. And it was because the stiletto was like really, skinny. I'm like, girl, well, I'm actually glad that they had those, those shoes like you see in the ballroom dance, like on Dancing with the Stars. Glad that they had those shoes, because Karen's feet would have been screaming, help me, help me. So then, we see her and Ray, they start to dancing. Ray got 2 left feet. He ain't got nobody's rhythm because he was all off beat. But it is what it is. She loves him for who he is. And the fact that he ain't got no rhythm, she don't give a fuck. So then they start dancing. She's like, oh, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. I'm already fighting you. I'm already fighting you. And the lady was like, why are you fighting her, Ray? He's like, I'm not fighting her. I'm actually leading her. Yeah. It was actually, and it really was Karen, because Ray actually, when they were doing it was kind of like a 1-2 step, 1-2 step, 1-2 step, 1-2 step. Ray was on beat with that. It was Karen who was a little bit ahead of him. I don't know if they had music or anything, but it was just her who was ahead of him. So that was basically it for Karen and Ray's story. Karen's story this week. She felt empowered, or she felt something after that whole yoga thing, whatever she did with Ashley Lee in the last episode, which I was creeped the fuck out by it. But it ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. So now we're gonna move over to Gizelle. All right, so then we see Gizelle. So Gizelle and her mother go to that house that she was telling her mom about in the week before's episode. The one that she wants to mimic her good gal pal Robyn with the rehabbing of the house. When I saw that house, I'm like, first of all, that grass is really, really high. So you don't necessarily know what's in that grass. Like, I would be terrified as fuck of that grass. Like, in my hometown, like my grandmother's house, there's a house that's next door to it. House has been there for years. My uncle used to own it. But then, some stuff happened and the city got it. And then I think somebody in the family bought the house again, but then they let the city get it again. And then some white people, no offense to white people, but some white people bought it and they didn't do shit to the house. And, it just got ran down. At that point, we just use it for parking when we have family functions. And then I guess the city got a hold to it again. And then some more people got it now. And now it just looks like shit. The grass is sky high. I'm like, when I went down there the last time, I'm like, because my aunt lives in my grandmother's house now. And I'm like, what the hell's up with that grass over there? Like, don't nobody want to, like, and it's like, it's weird. Like, it's kind of like a little, it's almost like a hut, but it is a house. It's a 2-bedroom house, but you know what? And 2, that house got cement through it. That floor is cement, like, I wonder who the fuck built that shit. Sorry, y'all, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent, but I guess the reason why I talked about the house is because I actually wanted to buy the house. I don't want the raggedy ass house. I want the land, because the land is kind of nice. After my mom died, I'm like, you know what? I would like to have my own house here, so that way when I come home, I have somewhere to stay. Which, you know what? Because eventually it's gonna go back to the city. Because that shit has been owned by the city since I was a teenager. It's changed ownership so many fucking times. So pretty soon it might go back to the city. And I'm gonna look into it. And I'm gonna buy that bitch. I'm gonna knock that motherfucker down and build me a house. Oh God, but I don't know if I wanna. We gonna move on. But yeah, Gizelle. So, she was looking at her house. She's talking about what she wants to do with the house. And I was looking at it. So there's a chicken coop there. And then if you looked at the chicken coop, it looked like green algae. It looked like green algae or mold going all up the side of it. I'm like, that is nasty as fuck. That house should have been condemned because that house looked like it's that house. It just gives a bad aura to me. It just really looked like it should be condemned. Like, it doesn't look like it will ever be inhabitable. Even if you knock that shit down, like, it just don't look like it to me. But, her mom likes the vision that she has, and she's on board with it. I'm like, cool. Hopefully your shit don't be like Robyn's. Hopefully. All right, so next we got Robyn. Again, Karen, Gizelle, and Robyn didn't have really much of a story this week. We see Robyn. Actually, we don't see Robyn. We see one of those badass kids of theirs. They are cooking her breakfast. I'm like, so is this a special occasion? Is it her birthday? Is it Mother's Day? Or are they just doing it just for, hey, we know we give you hell, so let us do something nice for you. That could be it. So, they take her to breakfast. Bravo is shady as fuck. So, Robyn, she says, she and Juan divorced when their kids were younger. So they don't really know much about it. But as they get older, they can go on to Google and type in Robyn Dixon and Juan Dixon, and they can pull up that they were, married and divorced. Which, okay, they got two eyes. They both have eyes, and they can clearly see. If they don't know that you two are, they might not know that you two are divorced, but if they Google that you two are divorced, they're going to know, well, damn, Mama and Daddy are divorced, but they still live together. They still sleep together, literally and figuratively. They sleep in the same bed together, and they sleep with each other. It's like, how that confuse? She wants to make a big fuss about every fucking thing when it comes to this relationship that don't nobody give a flying fuck about. Just gotta put it out there. No one cares about it, Robyn. Nobody. But Bravo was shady as fuck for they pulling up an article where it said that they were divorced and they are still living together. I'm like, y'all are so fucking shady, but I love it. I love it. So now we're gonna move over to Monique. All right, so then we got Monique. She's doing her maternity shoot. So she's already done the maternity shoots where she shows she bears her belly. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to do something different. So she is in a nice, she's in a dress and she's going into her pool. And, she don't even like, she's talking about she don't like water. I'm cool with water. I'm just not cool with water and wet clothes. Like, oh, just the feel of water, when your clothes get stuck to your skin. Like, oh, God, that. I hate that. Like, I hate wet clothes. Like, when I get wet, I immediately start shedding the clothes. Like, if I'm in my car, I'm gonna shed them. Unless I'm going somewhere, I will shed the clothes. Like, I will shed them like a motherfucker. If I'm coming home, like, I will shed those wet clothes and they would just sit in my car until I get home. Because I actually did that once before. And my mom was, this was like 2 or 3 years ago. It was raining really, really badly. And I got wet up. And, or was I already at home? I might have been in my hometown and I was going home to my mother. I think that's what happened. Either I was leaving Dallas or I was already in my hometown. But I got wet up. Oh, no. It was a Friday after I got off of work. And I got wet. And I drove the whole way to my hometown with no clothes on. Just had my drawers on in the car. TMI. I know, probably right. TMI. But yeah, I drove the whole way when actually I drove all the way home with my shoes on and just my underwear. Actually, scratch that. I was completely, I had clothes. Oh, no. Had a towel on. Because luckily enough, I had to do laundry that weekend, so I had a towel. So I wrapped the towel around me and I drove the whole way with the towel on me. That's what it was. I drove with a towel on. And she was like, did you drive all the way down here with a towel on you? I said, I sure did. She was like, don't do that again. I'm like, well, hell, shit. I was wet, and I'm not gonna drive in no wet clothes like that. That is disgusting to me. Like, I don't like the feel of that. I truly hate the feel of wet clothes. So then, Ashley shows up to the maternity, to show up. And, Monique is like, she's going to give Ashley a second chance. I'm like, you better than me, because I want to give, I'm sorry. All the shit that she went through with Ashley last season, I just wouldn't be able to, I mean, I could forgive her, but not to be like cordial, or we could be cordial, but to be like that, it just wouldn't work. But, they're talking about New Orleans and how, Monique feels like she can see Ashley in a different light. I'm like, oh, okay, if you say so. So then, they're talking about, she was like, I bet you with you would do a naked yoga, a naked yoga maternity shoot. She was like, yeah. She's like, I also thought about jumping out of a plane. I'm like, what? They're not going to let a pregnant woman jump out of a plane, but if you want to go for it, you try it. So, then Ashley's talking about how she feels like, she says that she understands where Monique was last year because she's in that same situation with Candice this season. And I'm like, turnabout is a fair play. Turnabout is fair play, bitch? All right, turnabout is fair play. So, then she talks about, how Candice is still talking about it. She even had a side conversation with Gizelle. She's like, she had a side conversation with Gizelle about this. She's like, yeah. She's like, she was talking about the rainbow party, how, she felt like the whole situation with Ashley and Michael was fake, which I don't think that was fake. I think that was actually 100% real on both of their parts. I am spitting like a motherfucker. But I believe it was real on both of their parts. So where Candice got from that was fake, I don't know. So then, she's also talking about, well, Gizelle wants to have a side conversation with you, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that, somehow, some way, Candice said that you equated, she equated Katie to a slave. And I was slightly irritated with that, and I'll tell you why I was irritated with that. Because one, Ashley didn't hear Candice say that, so she don't know what the conversation was. So here we are playing a game of phone tag, and I really hate the game of phone tag. Like, I really hate that shit so fucking much. Like, I hate that. I've never been one to do it because it's stupid. Because things can get misconstrued. Like, if you've ever been in an environment where someone says something in your ear and it goes around, you do, like, that shit and most time after the first person said, after the next person says it to someone else, that's where it starts. That's where it really starts to get, turned all the way around. Like, I just hate that game of phone tag. Like, Ashley, you weren't privy to the conversation. You should have let Gizelle tell her what it was. And I'm so glad that Bravo, is playing the footage showing what was said. Because really and truly, what Monique said was that, when she met Katie, Katie gave off one persona, as if she was snooty, her nose was in the air, she was better than people. But now to see her, she's like Ashley, Amistad, free me. And what she meant by that was she's a free spirit. She's not pretentious. She's not stuck up. Like, and she said Amistad, free me. She didn't say she looked like fucking Amistad. Like, she didn't compare her to a slave. So then we do see, Monique and Candice, they go out for lunch or dinner, whichever one it was. And, Candice is talking about how she's adjusting and that, this is a new her. So then, Monique tells her, hey, I invited Ashley. She's like, well, what happened, have you talked to any of the, actually, Candice said, have you talked to any of the girls since the rainbow party? She's like, yeah, I invited Ashley over. She's like, you invited Ashley over? She said, yeah. Now, she only came as far as the pool, but she came over. And, then she was like, well, why are we talking about this? Ashley did bring something to my attention that you said that, you told Gizelle that I called Katie Amistad, comparing her to a slave. She's like, I don't remember saying that. And then Bravo played the footage back and then, Candice actually tried to make it out that it was all Gizelle. And I'm like, well, I didn't remember what happened. But I'm like, but you didn't mention this homicide stuff to her. And then they played it back where she said, so she was comparing her to a slave. And you said yes. You said yes. She compared her to a slave. Which, again, she was not comparing her to a slave. She actually compared her to Ashley. And she said she was a free fucking spirit. I wish now I wish that Monique had used a different, said, I wish she had said, she's kind of like Ashley, free spirited, gone with the wind. She doesn't care, something like that. So that way we wouldn't have to talk about this homicide shit. Like, it's stupid. Like, so far right now, the stuff is kind of trivial and really stupid. But and then Monique was like, "But if you felt like that, you should have said something to me." Because then Candice, like, she felt as if Monique was judging her, not her specifically, but Katie. And I'm like, but how was she judging her when she said when she met her, it was like her nose was stuck up in the air. But now that she sees her now, it's as if she's like Ashley, a free fucking spirit. So now Candice is like, you know what? I just wish I had never said anything. Wow. And then she gets upset because they played footage of a week earlier where, Monique was telling her that she is turning into Ashley, which she actually is. And I didn't even think about that. You are playing Ashley's role, being messy, talking shit, and getting shit stirred. Like, she really is. But then she gets mad about that, and also the fact that Monique said something about her mama. I didn't really grasp what Monique said, but she said something about it, and I'm like, why are you getting offended? She didn't say nothing bad about your mother specifically. Like, these people, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, you guys, I was actually about to edit and upload this video when I realized I forgot about the most annoying person on this show, Ashley. So we see Ashley, and she was with the Green Eyed Bandits, Gizelle and Robyn. So then they talking about New Orleans, and then Giselle's like, I'm confused about the whole situation between you and Candice. Well, Ashley says she is as well, but she shouldn't stress too much about it. I wouldn't give a fuck about it. So then, she tells them that, she is performing at Pride with that song that she came up with last year. I'm like, keep that bullshit, because nobody wants to hear your non-singing ass with that damn song. So then they talk about, just Monique's rainbow party. And, Gizelle has to bring up what Candice said. And I'm like, why? Why did you have to bring that shit up? Like, you could have kept it to yourself. Talking about how, she felt like the whole situation between Michael and Candice was fake. Not Candice, but Ashley was fake. I'm like, Gizelle, you just love to stir up some bullshit, don't you? Then, she's talking about this whole thing when Monique's saying that Katie looked like Amistad. She did not say she looked like fucking Amistad. She was comparing her, saying she was Amistad free me. Like, I don't know how many times we gotta say that. So then we see this scene where Ashley and Michael, they are, at home. They're getting ready to his pool table. And he's talking about, he don't want to get old like Karen and Michael is. I'm not Karen and Michael, but Karen and Ray. And I'm like, but you're older than Ray. Well, you're younger than Ray, but you're older than Karen. So shut the fuck up. Ugh. Like, I can't stand either one of them. And, he's talking about they're talking about how they felt about the, Monique's party. Ashley's like, she doesn't know if she want to tell him or not. Don't tell him. Let him see it on TV. I don't give a fuck. Then he's talking about, she's talking about the party that Chris and Monique are having. He's like, at her mom's house. I'm like, it's her house too, so shut the fuck up. You know what? I wish I had forgot about Ashley. I could have just typed her into the video, but I talked about the bitch. So we gonna keep it pushing. All right, you guys. So if you guys remember back 2 weeks ago when we last got the episode, when Candice sat down with Gizelle and she had that conversation with Gizelle about, Katie, Monique, Ashley, and then she got into the whole thing about the cookbook that Chris is doing, and he was having a party, and he wanted all the ladies to come over. Well, the episode started 1 week prior to that party. So then, like I said, it's 1 week earlier. So we see Chris and Candice, they at their place, they still got some boxes that are there, and I'm like, wait a minute, are those boxes from the wedding or what? Like, I was confused where those boxes came from and why they were there, or were they empty boxes? Either way, it was some boxes sitting in the living room. And she's like, oh, I need more space. He's like, girl, don't even try that with me that you need more space. So then she goes into this whole spiel about, wanting more. She does need more space, and how she wants them to have a place that is solely their own and nobody else's, i.e., not her mama Dorothy's house. Which, I mean, I get it. So then Candice gives us a little story about what happened, when she went to one of her friends' weddings. So I guess her and her mama must have got into it, and then she said her mama slapped her in the face with her purse. Ooh, as an adult, to get slapped in the face with a purse in front of your friends, that has got to be embarrassing as fuck. Shit, like, ooh. Her mom is a piece of work. I'm not gonna call out her name, but the woman is a piece of work. Like, really? To embarrass her in public like that in front of her friends, to slap the shit out of her with a purse? I don't give a fuck what she said to you. First of all, you could have pulled her to the side and said, hey, Candice, don't like the way this conversation is going. So when we get to wherever we going, we're gonna have a side conversation. But god damn, to slap the bitch in the face at the wedding in front of a group of people, yeah, that's a little bit disrespectful. That is a little disrespectful. Candice in her interviews, Candice in her interviews and in her scenes, when she be crying and she just like, girl, you are too dramatic for me. Way too dramatic for me. So then they start talking about this party for the cookbook, and they're talking about who they want to invite. So like I said, it is the girls that are coming, and then she's talking about she's not sure about inviting Ashley, and Chris is like, well, Ashley, I think she should come because she has a restaurant and she would she could be a good sounding board for what's good and what's not. I'm like, really? Says the girl who has a restaurant where they sell emu. Like, really? Emu. I'm just gonna say it. Emu. Like, really? We think that that's gonna be a good. Okay, if you say so, Chris. If you believe it, I believe it. Not really, but okay. But I guess she's okay with inviting Ashley. So then Chris is like, what did he say? He's like, well, do you want to invite the husband? She's like, nah, the girls are good enough, so we'll keep it at that. Just let it be the girls. All right, so then we get the cookbook party. Now, I was kind of confused about Candice. When Candice was talking about, the party as at a certain time and it's rude to come early. It's rude to come early, but she's okay with someone coming 30 minutes late. What the fuck kind of shit is that? I would be upset if you came 30 minutes late. If you came 10 or 15 minutes early, that's fine. Because technically, you should already be set and ready for your guests to come. If you say the party's at 5 o'clock, that means your ass should be ready, between the hours of, you should start getting ready, depending on how big the crowd is, depending on what you have. If you had to cook anything, hopefully you would have cooked that shit the night before or woke up early that morning and cooked it. And by the time 3 and 4 o'clock rolls around, you're setting up everything, getting ready for the guests to arrive. So that way, everything is good. But for her to say it's rude to show up on time, I was like, okay, Candice, if you say so, that is ass backwards. But again, I guess that's okay for you because you were late. You're late to stuff, so whatever. So we see Robyn shows up I'm like, wait a minute. It got to be a cold ass day because Robyn Dixon is on time to this shit. Okay. Robyn is on time. So then Gizelle shows up. So, Gizelle and Robyn, they having a conversation with Candice about Ashley. And, not Gizelle, but Robyn is like, why do you have such a hard on for Ashley? And I, too, want to know that question. Like, why do you have such a hard on for this girl? Granted, don't like Ashley, but so far, Ashley hasn't done anything that hasn't been too annoying this season. That is so fucking shocking that Ashley, of all people, has not done anything, and it's really been Candice so far. But So I was like, okay, why do you have a hard on for her? So then she goes, she finally says what her issue is with Ashley. She feels like Ashley and Michael's relationship is fake as fuck. And the reason why she feels like their relationship is fake is because of the fact that, we go right back to Uncle Lump's party that they had earlier this season when, in the confessional or interview, whichever one you want to call it, when Robyn and Candice both said in their interviews that, Michael said he would want to suck somebody's dick. Whose dick did he want to suck? I'm still gonna say he wants to suck Juan Dixon's dick. Just putting it out there. I really believe it is Juan Dixon's dick that he wants to put in his mouth. Just being honest. So then Robyn's like, oh my God, girl, I thought it was just me. She's like, I woke up the next morning and think that I imagined that shit. And she was like, nope. They walked by and they were talking about sausages. So I was like, wait, so were they actually talking about actual sausages, or are we using sausage? Are we saying sausage meaning dick or penis? And I just spit. But that's what my whole thing was like. Did they say he wants to put some sausage in his mouth? Did he want to put a weenie in his mouth? Did he want to put a hot dog in his mouth? Did he want to put a dick in his mouth? Like, which one is it? But Robyn is still on the thing that he said he wanted to suck somebody's dick. I'm like, okay, he wants to suck somebody's dick. Again, we know whose dick he wants to suck. It's your man's dick. But, whatever. So then, Gizelle and Robyn, mentioned what happened in season 1. And if you guys have forgotten what happened in season 1, when they had their party and Michael was grabbing Andrew's ass, who was Katie's then boyfriend, then he became her fiance. But then by the time the reunion aired, they had broke up. Actually, they broke up before the reunion. But she begged for that ring all season long to get dumped. So then, Monique shows up, Karen shows up, and then we see Katie and Ashley, they show up. So then, when Monique sees Katie, she tells Katie, hey, at some point you're not going to have a conversation with each other. She was like, and I don't know if Katie acknowledged her or not, but, she told her that. So, then, they talking, Chris is showing them the food. He had a duck quesadilla, I believe that's what it was. He had some other stuff. And then there was some fruit that he had, some food for the salad that was poached in alcohol. And he asked, he said, it hadn't been cooked. So the alcohol was still, I guess, kind of strongly present in it. And he asked Monique, did she want him to leave it out of hers? She said, yes. Well, and then they start talking about, how you can drink a glass of wine a day. It won't hurt anything. So then Ashley has to go and talk about Candice, talking about her drinking again before she gets pregnant. Why are we bringing this shit up again? Like, can we let this shit go? It's stupid as fuck. It's really stupid, to be quite honest with you. Like, first of all, Ashley, why are you concerned about it? If you want to have a drink, have a fucking drink. You're not pregnant yet. Well, has she given birth yet? I don't follow her on social media at all. But I didn't understand the whole thing about this. Like, first of all, why did you have to bring it up? You guys were peaceful. At this point, you guys are peaceful. No argument has happened. But then you have to bring this up. Like, you could have just let it go. So then, Candice is like, well, I feel like you and Michael are lying about y'all's marriage. And again, why is that any of your concern? If they are lying about their marriage, that's between those two, not you. You are married to Chris. She is married to Michael. If they have a fake marriage, it'll all come out and everything comes out in the wash. Like, let it go. Nobody cares. So, then those two, once they start arguing with each other, I don't know what the fuck was being said because they were yelling over one another. I'm like, what the fuck are they bickering about? Like, it makes no sense to me. I didn't understand it. I thought it was, ridiculously stupid. So then, Ash is talking about this is your mother, something about your mama's house. And Ken's like, don't mention my mother in my house. And I'm like, is it that deep? She's wielding the butter knife at her. Get that knife out of my motherfucking face. Get that knife out of my motherfucking face. I'm like, Ashley, you sound every bit of a white girl. Like, your sister should have came out like, bitch, get that knife out of my motherfucking face. Not motherfucking, but you know, it is what it is. That was where the episode actually ended at, with those two bickering, and it's to be continued. I'm like, that was actually kind of anticlimactic, to be quite honest with you, because the argument was so fucking stupid. Ashley started the argument. Candice got offended by her mentioning her mother. Like, this is, I'm like, why, what are we arguing about? Like, what? Like, what? This is stupid. But I love Potomac though. But that shit right there was just really ridiculously stupid. But we're gonna keep it moving. All right, you guys. So that is it for the episode. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later for claws.